Hey everyone, NicMakesPlays here. I'm currently a top 20 ranked Pokemon Unite player in the world, and the number 1 ranked Charizard in the world, and today I'm going to go over what I think are the best Pokemon with my Pokemon tier list. Now, I want to state that I think every character in this game is good. I think every Pokemon is good. Even the worst characters, which I'll get to later, I still think are good. It's a game where right decision making, playing smart, kind of knowing your character in and out will do well. I think every character is viable. It's actually extremely balanced game. So again, if your character's like not that high up, I still think they're really good. Really, any character can do good. I also want to note that this is a current meta. The game's only about for a few days. People find different builds, different strategies, stuff like that. So it's just my current impressions, and I'm sure this will all change. The meta will change, but let's get into it. So a character I think not many people are surprised about. I think the best character is Aurora. He just seems a bit stronger than the rest. Nothing too crazy, but he just does crazy damage output. He's so good you can actually play him in the middle lane, the jungle, or top or bottom. He's supposed to be in the middle lane, the jungle, but he's just well-rounded character, tons of damage. He's pretty much a 1v1 king because he heals. Some of his moves heal him while he's doing damage, which is already big. And then he also is his ultimate can do tons of damage to all big team fights. He's extremely fast, so it's hard to get away from him. It's basically if you play smart with him, you can always chase people, get some cool cleanup kills, important team fights. Just overall, it's the strongest character. Second is Eldegoss. Alright, this is the only healer in the game. I think that a smart Eldegoss sways games in your favor so much. She's really safe at camping under the turret, or I guess the goal. You can kind of just stay around there and hold it down. It's hard to push on her because she heals so much. She wins team fights because you're healing and they're not. Her ultimate can invalidate other ultimates. I've had tons of times where it's the final Zapdos fight and everyone's popping their ultimates and Eldegoss pops hers, and then it's just like everyone just heals and it just like invalidates and you don't get any kills with my ultimate. I'm like, wow, this was my big swing. I'm like high level 13, 14. I'm trying to ultimate everybody and then she just, didn't even do anything because Eldegoss was there. I think, yeah, again, this character is almost not a must-have, but very, very important for, I guess, if you want a very, very high-level functional team. So I think she's second best character. Very good. Third best character, I would say is Snorlax. I think Snorlax is so freaking good. All right, so let's just go over what he does real quick. First off, I guess it's Heavy Slam, I think it's called, is insane stun, so you can stun people for a long time, which just makes you can swoop in and get a kill. The other team makes you do a lot of damage. He can just sit under turret again. He has so much health. So him just sitting under turret is a menace. What you can do is you can have like 4 people go Dreadnought or go an objective, and he just is the one lone guy sitting under turret, and he can just sit there and while the turret's healing him, it's so hard to kill him with all his tanky items. His block move can help win team fights. He can push people out of turrets. He can stun people. During the Zapdos fight, his ultimate can take a lot of space, make people back off. I feel he's a huge bully in the early game because, again, other Pokemon have to evolve and stuff, and he's just kind of strong from the get-go. So, especially the tons of health. So overall, I think Snorlax is just really good. If you have a safe playing Snorlax who just says, okay, all I'm going to do is just like sit around turret, defend, and then block people off and support my teammates, then really good. And he's really good getting farm because his Heavy Slam just covers so much area that like he can just come and steal the best queens in the early game and be... let alone a regular Snorlax is hard to deal with, but a Snorlax that's higher level than you in lane is a big deal. So I think very highly of Snorlax. After that, I would say the next best character, make sure I go over all of them so I don't miss anybody. The next best character is probably Cinderice. I think Cinderice is huge damage output from a range is pretty big. You can play safe, you can poke people in their turret, put people when they're fighting against your turret from a safe range. You can steal kills on minions, just chip kills in general. His Fate makes him go, I think, invincible for a second, lets him get away. So he's pretty much a safe character that does tons of damage from a good range. And if you're playing against a competent Cinderace, they know how to position themselves to where you're just not able to really get anything on them. You have to commit because they're hitting you from farther. So if I'm like Charizard, I play Charizard a lot, I have to like commit to going in and fighting them. But they don't have to commit. They can just poke a little bit. And then if they have like a teammate coming in, let's say like hey, I'm Cinderace, I poke this guy like 4 times, complete him up, the Joker come out of nowhere and just finish him. He's just a really good character. Alright, next I believe it would be, make sure I see everybody, Machamp. Definitely Machamp. Which is surprising because people didn't, like, I don't know. At first I was like, I don't know how good Machamp is. He's really good. So I think if you play Machamp or against Machamp, he knows his submission where he grabs you, tosses you over his shoulder. So that move is crazy, because he's generally a slow character at first, but when that move gives him a speed buff, he can run in, he can flip someone back, and then he flips you behind him. So let's say you're in lane, right? He grabs you and puts you between, like, he takes you away from your teammate and puts you between him and your own teammate, and you just, like, double team and kill the guy who's stunned. So it's basically like a guaranteed kill if your teammate's ready for it. So yeah, he stuns people, your teammate just clean them up. Even in a 1v1, you just submission them and you just kill them. He's great at camping under turret. You know, pretty slow character, that's his downside, but very, very powerful to just clean up free kills. He's just a menace in lane. And even just coming in from jungle and getting kills is good. His ultimate's insane. It can win team fights by itself, especially at the Zapdos. There's tons of damage, has like a super punch, so this character, when played smart, it just... I feel like you can clean up really easy kills in the early game with him, and then you're like, wow, I already couldn't deal with him, but now he's over-leveled, and the game just like snowballs from there, so very good. For S tier, I think that will be it. So we'll move on to the A tier. Next I would put Gengar. Gengar, I think, is particularly good. Tons of damage output with Hex. Very fast character, very tricky. He can juke people a lot, so if you're good with him, then he is hard to deal with. And you can really tell the difference between a good and bad Gengar player, and the good ones are they carry the games. They're pretty powerful characters. I guess the downside is he's kind of squishy. So I just think that all the S tier characters have like something about that's particularly broken, but don't have much downsides, and Gengar is just like really good. So yeah, I'd say he's around A tier, top of A tier. Very strong character. Next, I would put... I think next I would put Crustle. Crustle is pretty insane. Very, very tanky. Has the ability to be a tank who can move really fast when they need to with their speed buffs. Their X Scizor, I believe it is, or on Fury Cutter, I think it's X Scizor, that hits 3 times. It stuns for so long and it does some good damage that your teammate can just kill them while they're being stunned by it. It knocks people out of their turret, which is really important if you can get behind them and knock them out of their turret into the team fight, kill them. On a dime, you can just get shields, go fast, become very strong, and just turn on people. You can't really chase him, even with the speedster characters have a hard time chasing him. So he's a really well-rounded character that if you're good with him, he kind of has it all. Strength, health, speed. He's just a really, really good character. After that, I would put... I'll put Absol. Absol's competing with a lot of other good junglers, and there's tons of junglers like Aurora and Gengar, but Absol, tons of damage with the critical hits, can kill people really, really easily, kind of get snowballed, especially when they have like red buffs to decrease movement speed from the enemies. You're able to just win like team fights, get two kills, 3 kills out of nowhere. You can't really escape him because he's so fast, and his moves move him far. So again, he's squishy. He could die easily, is what I mean by that. But if you're smart with him, you can just come in, come out of nowhere, and just sweep a game. So very good. Next, I'd probably put Ninetales. Ninetales is amazing. This character, they're good at zoning. They can freeze people, which makes them can't move for a little bit. So your teammates can clean them up. Actually, does a lot of damage. So I feel it's just if you're smart, you know how to utilize her offensive capabilities with time to kill, and her zoning abilities with kind of play safe. She hits from a distance. Huge special attack. Her downside is that her ult, I don't think is particularly strong or anything crazy. But yeah, I think this character can really just like freeze people in a team fight. Before you know it, two of the enemies can't even move, and you just kill both of them, and then you win. So very good character. I think. Okay, I guess last first character in A tier would be Pikachu. Pikachu, well-rounded, just a lot of damage. He again makes people immobile by putting the Electro Web. He has a lot of range with his ult and his Thunderbolt or whatever it is. So you can steal Zapdos, steal Dreadnoughts. He's really good at stealing the objectives. Clean up team fights. He doesn't have to get close. Like he is, again, low health, but he doesn't have to get close because of his distancing. But yeah, so Pikachu's very, very good and very safe character. Overall, extremely strong. Next, we'll go into B tier. I think top of B tier, honestly, is Charizard. I'm not trying to be biased because I play Charizard, but I think this character is so underrated. I don't know why people always rate him so low. I think he's absolutely amazing. So his downside is Charmander's pretty weak, right? But in the early game, you'll get Charmeleon pretty fast. So Fire Punch stuns people and locks in, can get really easy kills. If you have Fire Punch and Flare Blitz, which is what I use, you can hit people, then you can auto them, and you can hit people again, and you just kind of like invalidate them. You just one-on-one somebody, and they're stunned the whole time, and you just do so much damage. He can move while he's doing his auto attack, which I also think is a very strong auto attack, to burn people and do huge damage. I think he has really great mobility, so he can do objectives very well by going from Dreadnought all the way to Rotom pretty fast. I think he also has one of the best Unite moves in the whole entire game. You can get that when the Dreadnought fight, your team wins from there, you're so far ahead. You can save it for the Zapdos fight, it's one of the strongest moves, again, Unite moves in the game. You can get 2 to 3 kills with it when the Zapdos fight by itself. You can be mobile and go all the way to the turrets. He also has a decent amount of health for this character compared to other characters, so all around, super underrated character. He kind of does everything. I mean, he's an all-arounder, but yeah, I think he's strong at 1v1ing from the fire punches. He's good in team fights, so you can stun someone over and over again and do huge damage, and kind of just knock them out of the fight. When he's leveled up, you just kill everybody. Can move throughout the whole map, tons of health, can dunk well, so very underrated character, and this character is extremely, extremely good. At one point, I had an 88% win rate with Charizard on my way to Masters, and I see most healers put him at like the bottom. I honestly, it's up to me, I would want to put him even higher, like maybe even S tier, but I'm trying to be like, neutral, unbiased here. Trying to like take the part that I play the character out of it. I think he's top of B tier. So yeah, very good. After that, I would put Talonflame. Talonflame, really unique character. She can go invincible and then dive on people, so that's really good to just kind of come out of nowhere and just get clean kills, especially in a team fight. If she's about to die, she can go invincible, go to some other part of the team fight, kill that person, which kills somebody, like one of the teammates fighting, while also keeping herself alive. She's extremely fast, so she can do objectives like, I'm like, hey, Talonflame Jungler, my friend plays Talonflame Jungler, but he's a Dreadnought, and they just come across the entire map. Let's go roam, touch around map. Very good at sneaking in dunks at the end of the game, because they're, again, such a fast character. They can just go across the whole screen and dunk while everyone else is busy. They can clean up kills very well. You can't really run away from Talonflame because of her speed, so yeah. And Brave Bird can also hit people out of turrets, which is big. So I think this character is very good. After that, I would probably put Garchomp. So I think Charizard's a bit better than Garchomp because Garchomp gets his Unite move and becomes Garchomp level 10. Charizard level 9, which is a bit easier. The pre-evolved forms of Garchomp aren't as strong. I mean, they're okay. Like, they're good. They have decent moves, but I feel the character is kind of, the role is the strongest late game character. In the very late game, when everyone's max level, Garchomp is an absolute threat. His ultimate can kill like everybody, but it takes longer to come online. You have to win your lane a bit harder to use him because he does, again, come online harder. He's weaker in the early game, so I feel he struggles more than most other characters in the early and mid game. And that's what keeps him B tier, but I can't deny that in the late game he's a complete menace and he's still a very good character, so put him in B tier. After that, I'd probably put Lucario. Well-rounded character, kind of definition of like an average character, just like a very fair character. Good movement speed because they can like lock onto people and boost, and like it's kind of like Charizard. You can just one-on-one people and just rush into them and kill them, and they can't get out. You also stun them, I believe. Good passive where if I think you're weak, you get extra shields, you get faster, you can get out of team fights if you're losing. The biggest thing that makes a character good is how strong they're in the early game. They don't have to evolve or anything. I feel in the early game lane, you can kind of win your lane a lot with Lucario. Make it hard for characters like Charizard and Garchomp that kind of need to like hit a certain level before they get powerful. You can just bully them in the early game, and then you win from there. So he falls off a bit in the late game, but I'd say his early and mid game is very strong. He's a well-rounded character, and even in the late game, he's still pretty strong, so pretty good. Next, I put Kramer. Pretty good character, does tons and tons of damage, has good CC, can hit from a range. I guess the downside is how slow the character is. They can't really move that far, so you're able to just kind of run away from them, just choose not to fight them. You can kind of just honestly ignore them a lot of time, just go do objectives and stuff like that. Their ultimate is very strong, but if you're like ready for it or ready to just immediately leave, it doesn't get that much value. You can also kill them while they're doing it. If you're like already attacking them or like near them, and they start doing their ultimate, and you're in a team fight, if you say, hey, this Kramer's ulting, let's both focus Kramer right now and kill them mid-ult, you can just kill them and they finish mid-ult. I think being slow is kind of a rough spot for this character because for a character that's as powerful as Kramer, you have other characters like Charizard who are like faster and also powerful. So I think that's interesting to note. But I do like the range and the stun on the Kramer, so still a pretty good character. After that, I would put, we're going to C tier from here. I put Slowbro. Slowbro's pretty good, but I feel if you don't let him get his gradual health thing, you kind of just keep focusing him. He, like, I don't know. I feel like he's easier to kill than Snorlax. I don't know if that's entirely true, but this is the way it feels to me. You don't look at the grapple health, you just finish them before they get it back. The stun is good, and the character is very much... Like, it's a tank, but it's very much a support character. Like, their big thing is they're stunning, right? They're making so their opponent can't move. His ult invalidates other ults, so if you, let's take a Charizard ulting, you can use his ult, and they can't, you know, they stun them, and just kind of, like, stops their ult in its tracks, which is really good. You can just keep using the Surf on them, and the Psy Beam, so that they can't move. Very good in team fights. Very good in team fights to kind of... You pick one of their guys, like their strongest, say, level 15 Aurora, 15 Charizard, 15 Garchomp, you just... you stun them permanently and then they die. But besides that, that's their strengths. Besides that, very slow, so they can't really do objectively lane. If they're ever caught alone, I don't think they're particularly that great alone because you can hit them from a distance and then just kind of like weave in and out of their moves so you don't can CC. They don't have that much damage either. They need to be complemented by a strong attacker. But still a very good character, and if you play a smart Sorbo, you can just literally just invalidate one of their characters during big team fights and win the game. Next, I put Greninja. I think Greninja's pretty strong. He's alright. His ult's not that great. He does good damage, like his water shurikens can hit people that are chasing you, and he's also fast, so he can kind of clean up kills, get multiple kills with his like chain attack or whatever. But once you know his tricks, he's not the most potent. I feel he gets a lot of mileage out of people challenging him when they should just not challenge him because, again, he can chip away with water shurikens if you try and chase him. Then out of nowhere, like, oh wait, wow, I'm chasing him, but he's hitting me and now I'm weak. I'm gonna try and run, but you can't run because he's kind of fast-ish. He has the dash move, so he just kills you. But I feel, yeah, you just don't really respect him that much. You kind of ignore him, and he doesn't do too much damage compared to other late game carries. He gets a lot away from being cheeky, but he's still a good character, and he definitely is a higher skill character. He's pretty hard to play. If you're good with Greninja, you do amazing. I played a lot of, in a Master, like, amazing Greninjas. I'm like, wow, the Greninja's carrying their whole team. He's just so good, and once they really get going with him, he's over-leveled. It's like that, being over-leveled with him, plus knowing all of his tricks is just too much to keep up with sometimes. So after that, I'm actually not really entirely sure between Venusaur and Wigglytuff. I guess I'll give it to Wigglytuff. Her move, I believe it's Sing, is just like insane. I think it gives her teammates speed buffs, and also it like puts the opponents to sleep if it hits them for a certain time. Double Slap stuns people. Overall, it's a good support character. I think it's a bit outclassed by, like, you know, I think Goss is absolutely insane. Snorlax, I mean, defenders and support are kind of the same role-ish, but I guess it's like a backing somebody up or helping your teammates out. Yeah, I think Goss and Snorlax are insane. Just a lot of really strong support characters, so it's kind of hard to pick who's the best. But that move, Sing, is a crazy move. I can see this character moving much higher. Next is Venusaur, character I like a lot. I play this character a lot. One of my secondaries out of, I like Venusaur, Machamp, stuff like that. I think they're underrated. The biggest thing for me with Venusaur is that they actually don't have much health as you think they would. They're pretty slow. Like, unlike Charizard, again, Charizard can do objective to objective. I can get Dreadnought. I can go all the way up to Rotom. Venusaur is a bit stronger, a lot of power, but can't really move around as much. One big issue is their ultimate isn't that strong. I don't really feel like I do much with my ultimate. It like does some damage, but it's not really game changing. It's not like game winning. Like, I played Charizard's ultimate. I think it's a game winning. I'm not sure compared to Charizard, just like compared to other characters you guys want. But it's not like a game winning ultimate, and that kind of holds the character back. Solar Beam's good, does tons of damage, but it is dodgeable. So I like Venusaur, but being strong, compact, and a slow character kind of reminds me of Kramer a little bit. Kramer's like a bit more CC, but it's just like there's other characters that do what Venusaur does. They're strong and fast, so there's that. These characters aren't even out yet. They're just in the beta. This one's, I think, not even, I don't know if they're in the game. They're in the beta and they might got removed. Last but not least is Mr. Mime in the D tier. Again, I want to clarify, I think every character in this game is good. I don't think any character is bad. Even Mr. Mime's a good character, and you can get matched with Mr. Mime. But just kind of weak with other characters. A bit cheesy. There's some cool setups you can do with like the barriers and stuff like that. But it's like when you're competing against really strong support characters like Goss and Snorlax, like you don't want 3 supports in your team really. So let's say you have to pick between Goss, Snorlax, and Mr. Mime, right? And then you have Goss, Mr. Mime, which is so much weaker than Goss, Snorlax, and character dies. They do decentish damage, but I think they're kind of squishy. Once you learn their tricks, you can just play around them. And it just comes down to the point where 1v1, they're not that great. And team fight, they do help, but they often feel like a weak link where every character is contributing a lot, and the character just kind of like doing some weird zoning. I think Mr. Mime Master would be very powerful, but I still think that other characters are a bit better. But yeah, I think every character is good. That's my tier list. Again, it's my Master, rank 1 Charizard, top 20 right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below in general, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.